I looked out my bedroom window and saw a beautiful sunrise. A strong inspiration came to me. It is a beautiful new day. Whenever this kind of inspiration comes to me, I can always tell because it seems to be coming from outside of me. It comes as an impression, like looking at a painting all at once rather than listening to someone talk. Then the impression again came to me. It is a beautiful new day. Let integrity of your thoughts interpret your feelings. That thought seemed to jar in me a question because I had not anticipated it. Integrity of my thoughts? The reply seemed to come clearly. Do not go into the process of supposing. Let refreshing inspiration come into you. Just absorb it, not interpret. Sort of like a I get it moment. I had no part in creating the beautiful sunrise, nor was there any interpretation needed. Just positive energy flowing into me, a sense I was a student receiving inspiration from a teacher. Positive energy embraced. Negative energy to be recognized for what it is. The most important information coming to me was being aware of the stimulus coming in. Replace impulse with awareness. This places choice on a cognizant level. I choose to do this or not. Impetuism is always a cloaking device to cover choice. Like supposing tries to mix your opinion with reality. A brand new day, February 29th, 2012, early in the morning. It's a cold, snowy day. I decided to see what I could do with this inspiration. What should I choose to do first? I decided on giving and receiving love. That's where I would start. My first choice would be to go down, scrape the windows of snow and ice on my daughter's car and her family. I had done this before, but that doesn't change the reason for doing it. It was hard to get up out of bed when it's cold, and those pillows felt so comfortable. I staggered up and looked for my sweatpants, and found them laying next to my dirty socks, which almost seemed like a positive thing. Next, I walked out into the living room and put on my warm coat that I left hanging on a chair so it would be easy to find. My old tennies were right next to my golf clubs by the door. Yes, I'm a bachelor, and that's how I get away with leaving things laying around. The ice scraper was laying on an end table, but I couldn't find my gloves anywhere. I looked at my watch, and I only had about 5 minutes to get down there before my daughter would leave. I spent 7 minutes looking for my gloves and couldn't find them anywhere. Great, now I'll freeze my hands and probably be late getting down there. The silent voice. Does that induce love in you? No. So I went without them. I got there just in time to finish her car before she left. The rest of the cars I took my time, but not too much time because the temperature outside was pretty cold. About 11:30 a.m. the same day, my next opportunity to show love and concern. Leo, a white lab of my daughter's, came down to visit me. It was a mix of snow and rain, and he was quite wet and muddy. He stood on my doorstep with those big brown golden eyes staring a hole through me. As I looked at him through the glass, "You're all wet and muddy. I can't let you in. Why didn't you come in earlier when it was just snowing?" His eyes were easy to read. I didn't want to then. More inspiration. The word love. Thank you for reminding me. I started to give the same old orders. Stay on the rug, Leo. But awareness kicked in. So instead, my reply was, I love you, Leo. I have to admit, it felt good coming out of my mouth instead of the usual. That's kind of like a sunrise moment. Yes, it is, came the inspiration. We exchanged love for several minutes, even though the wet and stinky smells were horrendous. Then, however, Leo's real motivation exposed itself. When he walked over and peeked into the kitchen, without hesitation, Lecture 101 came out of my mouth. Leo, you were not even subtle about your real intentions. Your integrity went down the drain. I'm disappointed in you, and I'm not rewarding you for bad behavior. No treats. Then the pricks of awareness began poking me again. But I really got it when Leo's eyes rolled as he looked at me. I'm just a dog, remember? The feeling bummer came to me. Clearly, it was a negative. More inspiration. Learning is not supposed to have negative feelings added to it. That's part of your old dialogue. Let learning always be embraced as a positive thing, because it is. This is not a game where you're keeping score in a win-lose column. It's a win-win scenario. I began to realize this new form of thinking was profound, because it can bridge the gap of repeating the same old behavior.